Welcome, everybody, back to another Market Talk. We have Joe Valente from Tabatchouk Law, Robert Snyder from Silex Financial, and my business partner, Jeffrey Kalafut. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right. So let's get right into it. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of market shifts in what we're doing in certain local markets. But Bob, can you kind of like touch on some of the mortgage talk in regards to like the 50-year mortgage or even the portable mortgage? Like
Portable mortgages, yeah.
what's your
Well,
take on this?
let's start with the 50-year mortgage. Look, the laws, the qualified mortgage do not allow for a 50-year mortgage. So the only way we're going to have a 50-year mortgage is if we have what we call non-QM, all right, which is basically like the old subprime, right?
Mhm.
Which means that they would be higher rates. So by the time you get them on a 50-year mortgage with a higher rate, you're not giving them a whole lot of benefit. They might be saving, $100 a month, and then they're paying triple in interest. It's the numbers just don't work. Everybody thinks immediately, oh, this is going to free up the industry.
Mm.
Payments. I've run several numbers on this. Even at the same rate, you're already saving a couple $100 a month, and you're going
Yeah.
to pay triple the interest. Forget it. It's never going to happen anyway. I don't see it happening.
It's a horrible idea.
Yeah, I don't.
There's no benefit to
No.
the
Yeah.
Right,
I
like,
mean
is $200 gonna change your buying power that much?
Yeah.
no, but it's going to make the banks a lot richer.
Yes. Yeah. And what's gonna happen is, you're gonna be 5, 6 years in and want to go sell, and you're gonna have trouble selling because you have no equity.
Zero.
Right?
You haven't built any further equity unless
Yeah,
you've
how do
started
you
with a large
how do you
down
achieve
payment.
equity with a 50-year mortgage? I don't think you can.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So yeah,
insane.
I don't see how any way you slice it that is actually beneficial to anybody strategically. But what's your on this portable mortgage? What's your thoughts on that?
Again, I'm not sure how it's gonna shake out and work. I mean, I know in other countries they have it. Like Canada has portable mortgages, but they also don't have 30-year mortgages. They're mostly like 5-year balloons and 10-year balloons. So, it's easier for that to work.
Mm,
So I don't see. I think they're just throwing things out there to make it sound like they're trying to come up with new ways to help the housing market. And the truth is they're not really viable ways from investors standpoints, from bank standpoints, and for the client standpoint. So
mhm.
it's been good talking points, it's been entertaining, but I don't see any of these working.
Yeah, especially because not every single market is in the same situation. Like Florida, I mean, inventory is through the roof right now, and still in New Jersey and the Northeast, we're still struggling with inventory. So it's not a one size fits all by any means.
No, and it sounds like the foreclosures are starting to creep up a little bit. Again, though, that it's not Northeast as much as um, elsewhere, but still. So there are some issues coming up.
Yeah. Joe, I mean, what are you seeing in regards to like transactions? Are they going smooth or is everything kind of like a battle right now?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same in terms of difficulty of everything. Interestingly enough, I don't know if this is just like an outlier or what, but the higher end markets are what's moving quickly, both New York and New Jersey. So I don't know
Mm,
if this is just coincidence, but stuff like 2 million and above is a lot of competition. You usually don't see that stuff with the multiple offers. That
mm,
stuff tends to sit a little bit longer because your buyer pool is less. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's election based or political based, that stuff is moving and has been moving for the last couple of months more than usual. In terms of you know the single family stuff between 500 and a million, a little over a million, yeah, that stuff is just it's just kind of a little bit messy still. Inspections are everything's taking longer. We're
mm.
not having the 30-day close. A lot of these deals are like closing in 45 to 60, and there's not a lot of urgency from the buyers on these deals. So it's an interesting market. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Jeff, what are you seeing right now in regards to, inventory market, multiple offer situations, not multiple offer situations? What's your take?
Again, it's going to be strictly geographic,
Yeah.
with depending on how things are going. Further east, it's going to be a little more competitive. The further west, it's less. I'm under contract on a property in Warren County with buyers of mine. The house is on the market for a total of, I think, 3 months.
Mm.
They had a fall through. They, for just really for no reason. It just a disagreement over some terms, and we were able to get it for a little bit below asking, which is good, and the value is certainly there. So I think the further west we go right now, we have more of a chance of getting something. Pricing homes right now, I said it, I think the last time we spoke to, is super critical because you want to make sure that you're pricing the home for the current market conditions in that specific area.
Mhm.
Same thing when you're running comps. Like the markets have shifted.
Yeah.
You might not get, 6 months ago, you might got 6 or 7 offers, maybe 10 offers on a house. Now you're lucky to get 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our,
Definitely. Yeah, I would agree with that. We're definitely seeing less multiple offers situate. We are still getting multiple offers, but like, a couple months ago, we were sometimes like 30 to 20
Yeah.
offers on one property.
Right.
That's not, not the case, but we are definitely still, it is a case by case basis, running the comps, making sure you're being strategic in your price placement. But there are still, obviously active buyers in the market. It's just I'm not seeing 30 to 40 offers on
what
properties right now.
what's changed? I mean, rates are lower, so affordability is there. So I'm not sure it's there, but it's a little bit better. What has changed that there's less offers? Or is it buyer fatigue? Is it just less buyers? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of things. I think there's some buyer fatigue, but we also have new buyers entering the market every week, right? So I think buyer fatigue is definitely part of it. I think people, just as my conversations with some of my buyer clients, they've gotten sick and tired of the way things were, and they're like, we're done with it. We're not going to deal with that anymore. So if a house is listed at 500 and it's still sitting there for a couple weeks, they're like, well, I don't know, forget about waiting for the price reduction. We'll make the price reduction.
Hmm.
Let's go in there and come in and negotiate. Like I've had quite a few negotiations lately where I'm going in under ask and we're getting to a price that makes sense for everybody. I don't want to say it's old school, but I feel like there's certain things that like we're going back 5 years now
Hmm.
where see the house, like the house, still sitting there, and we're able to make things happen at a lower price point that, makes the buyer happy, but still makes the seller comfortable with their transaction.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it has to do with buyer fatigue. I think it has to also do with sellers overpricing their properties.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think also the emotion or the hysteria around the market of like I got to get this house, it kind of toned down a little bit. Um, so I think the emotional factor toned down, and I think just sellers reaching a little bit too far in their list price have made them stall out a little bit. So
And I
like,
think we're seeing the seasonality of real estate for the first time in years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where like for the past few years we're just basically burning through the holidays.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit of a lull through Christmas, and it's obviously slow down as Thanksgiving hits. But like I think now we saw it towards the end of August. It started to slow a little bit. School's getting going. Then we saw a little bit of a spike up again. A few more houses hit the market. A few more buyers were, doing some stuff. I think we're going to see another. I think we're going to see this next week is going to be. I don't want to say dead, but it's going to be slower than what we're used to this time of year.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. It's like we kind of lost the seasonality in this
yeah,
with COVID and the years that followed that. And I think what you're seeing is houses were rolling out. There was such a demand and a frenzy that didn't matter when you'd had everybody lining up. Now it's like, all right, people are like, it's November. I'm not looking for a house.
right,
And
yeah.
there was always some of that to the market, and now it's coming back. I think that's a very good point.
Yeah, I think when it was the hysteria and the market was crazy, they didn't care what family function or vacation was taking place. That
Exactly.
if a house hit the market, cancel everything, we're
Let's
gonna
see
go
it.
see it.
Right, right. And we also had that influx of buyers from the city during those times too.
Yeah,
So we had a lot of New York buyers during that COVID market. It just they flooded our area. be shocked if we don't see quite a few more New York buyers again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Definitely
People
interesting
talk,
times. Yeah.
right? People talk. So I guess my question is, with seasonality, do you advise people who are thinking about selling to wait, or is it still a good time to sell?
I think it's still a great time to sell.
I do too.
Yeah, no matter what. We treat every single property as a case by case basis. We analyze everything, we run the numbers to put them in a competitive advantage, to create leverage for them the entire time, to put them in the driver's seat. When you don't do that, and some people make the mistake of testing the market. Let's just let's list at this price and we'll test the market, and if we have to come down, we'll come down. When you do that, you basically stutter step. You put yourself behind the curve very quickly. You lose momentum. You lose the psychological power of having FOMO, of someone wanting to not miss out on this property. So if you do it right, I think if you do it right, any market's a good time to sell, but you just have to do it right from the get-go.
Yeah, it literally house by house,
Yeah.
like is going to be different too. There's certain properties that you will want to wait,
Hmm.
depending on what's around you, like it's a case by case basis. But of course, there's certain situations where people just have to move. They have to sell, relocation, whatever it might be. Um, Divorce situations, like, we deal with all of
Sure.
that. So, there's really never a bad time. There could just be a better time
Hmm.
based on that property's location.
Yeah. And then also not only the importance of obviously listing the property properly, but also like we analyze the situation of what is the exit strategy of that homeowner as well, because that is just as important as putting the property on the market.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't when you get something under contract, you don't the seller does not want to be the reason why this process is being held up. So it's not only looking at how we list a property, but okay, say we get what we want, how are we getting out of this property? Where do you go? Do you have to get a rental? Or do you have another place to go? Do you have to buy something? Do we have to have a home sale contingency? Like it's the whole package of being strategic on executing on the process.
God.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see what ideas come or so Bob, isn't um didn't the credit score credit scores get lowered as well on something?
Yes, so they lowered or they dropped the minimum credit score on Fannie and Freddie. It doesn't mean that all the lenders are dropping it, and it doesn't mean that they're going to get approved with a low credit score. But what they did a couple of years ago, which makes it possible, is they now take a blended rate. So if you have two borrowers and one is a very high credit score and one is really low, they if there are some factors that are making the rest of the file strong, they're taking a blended rate. Unfortunately, when it comes to uh, um, getting rates and PMI, they go off the lower rate of the credit card, lower credit score. So you could end up with a pretty high credit score. So some of those instances you're still going FHA anyway, but. Um, so yeah, so yes, they dropped the minimum. That was the ultimate answer to your question is they dropped the minimum credit score. And so we do have some opportunities there.
Mm. So what does everyone think the silver bullet is to actually fix the market or help the market or create the activity?
I mean, this has been the question we've had for a couple of years now, right?
Yep.
I mean, I still think it's lower rates.
Yep.
But probably not as low as what we were talking about a couple of years ago. I think people have gotten to the point where if you're stuck in a two bedroom, one bath home with three kids and you're getting towards those teenage years and you've been holding out, I think you could sell if that rate comes down into the lower fives much easier than a couple of years ago when you wanted the fours.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think it is interest rate. I think it still has to come down to release the inventory to where people are like, okay, I'm willing to put the house on the market at this point. So Yeah. I still think it,
5.5. We've been saying it for so long.
Yeah,
5.5.
that's going to be an important delineation. It's like mental with a lot of people, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
5.4, 5.45. You get below that 5.5 line, it just will create a whole different mentality. And I think there's a lot of people like me out there. Like I either need to move forward with a renovation or get a bigger house. And I've been kind of playing it out the last 2 years, and I'm tired of waiting. So
I've been having that conversation a lot, and you run the numbers, and people are like, "Oh, I think I'll stick in the house." I'm like, "Wait, just beware. Three kids in the teenage years, you're going to be miserable. So either put the addition on, or bite the bullet." But it's a tough conversation. Having it a lot.
yeah.
yeah, money's important, obviously, and people need to be within their means to make those decisions. But again, it's like you have this one life to live with your kids one time, right? So
Hmm.
it's like
Mhm.
you get crammed up forever, and you spend the duration of those years when you don't have the space. It's not really the solution. I think everybody will, or the people that have the ability to make that decision, there's going to be at least a few of them that are going to say, okay, we've done this long enough.
Yeah.
We've been able to, at least, maybe people have been able to save money over the last couple of years while monitoring the situation, right? You have the low interest rate. Where's your money going? If you're not saving it, well, what's the point? So
Right.
Right.
Right. Joe's like, put an addition on, sell the house, or put a tenant in the backyard. You know. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think everyone is really having the same conversations. We're having the conversation of what our options are. Um, but yeah, it's tough to figure out which direction to head in right now, for sure. What's the smartest move?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to the older generation who are ready to downsize,
Yep.
and even they're like, "Well, look, I mean, if I downsize, what am I downsizing to? My payments are going to be the same. Why bother?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a problem for them too. They don't need these four-bedroom houses, but the townhomes that are available are just as expensive. So,
Yeah. And then HOAs. HOAs are not cheap.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they are not cheap. I saw one the other day was 700 a month. Insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Better give me something good for that. You better not just be cutting the lawn.
Mhm.
What other perks is this including here?
Yeah,
Snow removal. That's what you got. Isn't that enough?
yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So yeah, we still don't know what direction we're going to be heading in. But yeah, and anything else you guys want to add?
Well, I am having the rate discussion less.
Okay.
I like for a while everybody was all discussion about rate. I'm having it less. I think that a lot more people have come to the realization that they've come down a little bit. They're manageable. Let's move on from there.
Isn't it, Bob, that the rate question is really, it's more of the seller, like we discussed it earlier. It's more of the seller question. The sellers are the ones having more of the problem with the gap in rates. The buyers have accepted the rate. It's been there for long enough.
Yep.
Sellers are taking longer because they have that whole gap thing. But I think slight movement down, like we talked about, mid fives. It's not going to trigger everybody, but it's definitely going to trigger some.
Yeah, I think it would be a nice, it'd be a trickle down effect. We get down below 6, you'll see more people willing to just say, okay, like I can get rid of my 4.5% rate. The numbers make sense for me now. The lower we go, the more we're going to have of that. But that's the thing. Like in our area, we still have an inventory shortage. But you go to other
Mhm.
states, they're not dealing with that. So
Correct.
it's you know from
Things
here
aren't
to
selling in
Florida
a lot
type
of
stuff,
states.
it's a
Yeah.
huge difference. Like what's going on up here, what will trigger things. So I know myself, for instance, like I have a rate like I refinanced like a 15-year and I don't know, I'm in the twos, and there's a lot of people in my shoes. Like,
Mhm.
why would they sell and then go to a 6 and change right now?
Yeah.
So
It's a tough bullet to bite, right? Like
it is.
uh, you have that sweetheart rate. I mean, I do think that period of time really hurt
Yeah.
hurt us.
as that was happening, I was like, this is great with the business, but I'm like, this is going to create a problem.
Yeah.
I was projecting out, and I was like, it's definitely going to be a problem on the back end. So
Yeah.
It tastes so sweet right now, but it could...
Yeah, I mean, look, I worked with lots of first-time home buyers, and those first-time home buyers, the original plan was a 5-year plan, and that 5-year plan is still in effect. There's just there's little thought of moving.
Yeah.
You said it best, Bob. 5-year plan since 2018 for me, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
same. But yeah, I mean, I talked to an agent in Delaware yesterday, and they're building like crazy. Florida's building like crazy, and they have the people going. They're moving, and a good amount from New Jersey. So every market is different. So it's just we got to see what happens for sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say that the new construction, it's an interesting topic. That is on an uptick, I think, for the first time in a long time, for at least with my experience with it, with deals I have both in the city and New Jersey areas like Jersey City and even other areas pushing out farther north and west. So that's one area like that usually sets some type of signage that if building is becoming, business savvy again, the real estate market usually will tail behind that. There's usually a delay on that, but I would go periods of time where I would have no new construction deals. And now I have for the last 6 months, I've had like 2 or 3 at all times. So, that's a good year marker. If developers are getting out there and building again, that's not a bad sign for us.
No, no, it's not. It's just obviously it's like if they're building majority of the time, it's not necessarily New Jersey. They're doing the one-offs here and there, but nothing major
Right.
developments. So yeah, I mean, these other states, who knows? I mean, these other states building the inventory, maybe obviously the changing of the guard, people coming from New York, moving to New Jersey, and New Jersey moving out to the other states with the inventory. So we'll have to see. Anything else, guys? No.
I think, I guess the only other thing I would say is, what about the idea of a slowing economy? And I'm not saying it is or isn't, but would that, slow buyers, bring values down a little bit and bring out some other people who wanted to buy in turn, I don't know. I mean, I guess their properties might not be worth as much, but still they have plenty of equity from over the years. Whereas if they lose a little equity, the other houses are still a little more affordable, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So many factors.
It's such
factors.
a case by case basis.
Then we go and list the multifamily that we've never seen, that we have no access to, and everybody wants to throw cash at it.
Yeah, there's cash around, that's for sure.
Up.
Yeah, there's cash. So, but all right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, as always, and
See you guys.
we look forward to the next one.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Thanks.
Pleasure
guys.
as always.
Happy
Yep. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Take care.